Joining me now, Trump supporter Reverend Darrell Scott, founder and senior pastor at the New Spirit Revival Center in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. And back with us is CNN political commentator and New York Times op-ed columnist Ross Douthat. Reverend Scott, thanks for being with us. You introduced Donald Trump at the rally on Saturday in Cleveland, a day after the violence in Chicago. He said he should get credit and not scorn for how he handles crowds at his rallies. You know, he has said he'd like to punch a protester in the face. He's encouraged others at his rallies, if somebody throws something, to punch them. He said he's considering paying the legal fees for a guy who sucker punched an African-American man at his rallies. Do you really believe he's a unifier after all that?
Well, I really believe a lot of Mr. Trump's comments are overblown.
How is it overblown?
Well, he says a lot of things that people think. I mean, when you think about this, the climate of America, in fact, the climate of the entire planet is, if we go to a public event, the people that attend public events do not want to be disturbed. And if someone creates a ruckus, there's a potential for violence there. If you're at the movie theater and somebody starts making noise in the movie theater, you tell them to be quiet. If they don't, it can escalate.
Right, but Pastor, does an usher at the movie theater come out before the movie and say, by the way, if somebody makes noise, feel free to punch him? I mean, I haven't been in a movie where that's happened.
Listen, if you live in America, if you're in a public venue, you can be at a play, you can be at wherever. If someone begins to disturb, it can irritate you to the point of it can be an escalation in physicality.
Right, but those are our darkest, those are our deepest, like, hostile emotions. Should a leader be encouraging that?
But listen, here's the one thing I don't see. I don't see Donald Trump supporters going to Hillary Clinton rallies, Bernie Sanders rallies, Ted Cruz rallies, holding up Trump signs, trying to disrupt and prevent them from hearing their candidate. Trump supporters are not disrupting each other.
Right, but you're
outside influences coming in.
Right, but
outside
sir, you're assuming
are coming in.
You're assuming
and
that
they're
those
trying to disturb.
You're assuming those are being sent by
Sanders.
Okay, well, Black Lives Matter's protesters have disrupted Hillary Clinton. They have disrupted Bernie Sanders, but you haven't seen the same kind of rhetoric coming from those candidates.
And they were removed. But when you see them disrupting Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, they're isolated events, isolated incidents. With Trump, it's a regular event. He expects protesters, and it can get aggravating. I mean, the Trump people come to the Trump rallies to hear Trump, not for someone that gets up that morning and tells themselves, I'm going to intentionally go to disrupt a Trump meeting.
Sure.
That's wrong right there.
Right, of course. Political discourse should be, no matter what the opinions expressed,
I mean, peaceful protest
is
one thing, but disruption is another.
Ross, what do you make of this?
I think there's a cycle going on, right? I think it is fair to say that Trump faces protests that are unlike any other candidate, and it's not Bernie Sanders sending his people, but it is an organized left-wing movement at this point, and you saw it play out in Chicago.
Do you think Trump bears any responsibility?
Of course, yes. No, it's a cycle. That's the thing. I mean, this is, one of the dangerous things, frankly, about the Trump candidacy is that it encourages further radicalization on the other side. So Trump says something, Trump, creates a climate, Trump talks about how protesters should be punched and so on. That encourages more protesters to come out and encourages essentially, I mean, if you think about this on college campuses, right, I imagine that the Trump phenomenon is creating many converts to left-wing protest movements, which in turn, they then go protest Trump. It gets on the news. Trump looks like he's getting shut down. His supporters dig in, and so it goes.
So you see this escalating potentially?
I think it escalates if Trump is the nominee, certainly. This is a pattern you see in many, many countries around the world. And in the American past. We haven't seen anything like it in our politics since the 1960s, but this kind of, radicalization, counter-radicalization, and so on and it's happening on both sides. It's Trump and the people reacting to it.
Reverend Scott, the head of the NAACP, I believe it was today, made comments basically essentially saying Donald Trump's, a lot of his rhetoric is racist, it's bigoted. He compared it to Jim Crow in a blue suit. You've said that Donald Trump is not an agent of hate. He's an agent of change in America. And I know in your Cleveland speech, you introduced him saying, I asked Mr. Trump some very pointed and direct questions about race and race relations. I received very direct answers that erased all of my preconceptions. Protesters at his rallies call him, though, racist and bigoted. Where's the disconnect from the man you know and his critics?
We've had several conversations with Donald Trump in his private office about matters pertinent to the black community, in fact, the minority communities in general. We talked about police brutality. He said something that I found very insightful. He said, I don't know why police shoot to kill. If they want to disable someone, why don't they shoot to wound? We talked to him about Black Lives Matter. He says he believes the reason there's a lot of crime in the inner city is because of lack of employment, because of economic distress. He said, who can build better than Donald Trump?
So he
Told
convinced
us he
you.
would- What do you mean he convinced me?
He
I'm not
convinced you
stupid.
that he is not in any way racist, that he's not bigoted, as the NAACP says.
I've had several conversations, a lot of personal interaction with him. He's not a racist. He's not a bigot. In fact, the very first time I talked to Donald Trump, I challenged him on that, and that was over 5 years ago. I said that there's a disconnect between you and the black community. There's a word on the street that you're a racist. And the thing he did, he said, listen, I'm about the least racist person you ever want to meet. I work with all kinds of people in all walks of life. And we went on, and when I go to Trump Tower, when I see the demographics of his organization, and I see that he has a very high minority representation, and just my interaction with him, he's not a racist at all. It's a tag that people are putting on him to try. I mean, it's political. They're using that as a political tag.
Darrell Scott, it's good to have you on. Ross Douthat as well. Just ahead, as Russia announces it's going to start withdrawing its forces from Syria. An exclusive and rare look at the devastation inside the country. Our Clarissa Ward went undercover, witnessing an airstrike on the ground. I'll speak with her next.